Camera for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Sound for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Makeup for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Medic for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Grip department for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Production for Donny.
Go for Donny.
J for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Gary for Donny.
Go for Donny.
Colin for Donny.
Go for Donny. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate all three of you coming on. We have Jay Verkamp down there. We have Gary Shaffer, a past guest on the show. So was Jay. And then we have Colin Sims, a new time guest on the show. Sorry, this is your first time, Colin, but we'll have you back for something else. And thanks for coming on. Guys, we wanted to do something for a good friend of ours that sadly has passed away. And we just wanted to do a little special dedicated episode of Go for Donny, dedicated to Cam Versteeg. So he was a great guy. He came into our lives like a bright light, and then he was gone. So it really sucks. I miss him daily. I was lucky enough to, think of him as like a little brother. And we spent a lot of time having coffee over in Culver City at Intelligentsia, and we just talk a little. And over the past couple of years, we did talk and text periodically about the lack of work and depression and friendship, and just trying to keep him positive and let him know that we're always here for him. And in the end, sadly, we weren't. So. Guys, anyone have anything we want to share about Cam? I know there's some great stories. Gary, do you want to maybe go first? Because I believe you're the one that brought Cameron into our lives.
Yeah, sure. Cam was, he was definitely a bright light for sure. He was such a great kid. My story with Cam was I was doing a show for BBC called Breaking Point way back when up in Salt Lake City. We weren't even officially picked up yet, but we went up there to pre-scout and when I landed in Salt Lake City, he was the van driver that picked us up, the van PA that picked me up, drove me back to the hotel. We picked up producers and we scouted for essentially like 2 days. And I just fell in love with him immediately. It was hilarious. Like I sat in the front seat with him and, the producers in the back, just chitty chatty chat. And we drove around and saw a lot of Salt Lake City, saw a lot of the venues. And then at the end of those 2 days, the producer stayed for a couple extra days to just logistics. And I had to get back to LA, and Cam had taken me back to the airport, which just he and I one-on-one. And he hit me up the whole way, like, dude, I would love to be a part of this production. Let me know if you guys go into production. I'd love to be a part. And anything. And he goes, but my interest is cameras and, blah, blah, blah. We were talking about cameras throughout the 48 hours that I was there. And I was like, all right, I can't promise anything, but let me see what I can do. And I ended up convincing the production to hire him as a camera PA in the beginning. So that first season, he was a camera PA.
That's so great.
And he was just, threw him to the DPs, Malcolm and Luke Grisson. And those guys taught him the ropes, and we had some other great ACs up there. But he just killed it. Like he was just always, first guy in, last guy out, polishing gear, always taken care of. I had a lot of personal gear on there. He took such extra care of that. And he was just so appreciative of the opportunity. And then fast forward, we had a chance to do the season again, the second season, and we hired him as a full-fledged AC. And he,
great.
Again, crushed it, loved it. And by
course.
the end of that, it was just like, as the kid that you guys all know, it was like, his enthusiasm was so infectious that I was like, listen, you come to LA, like, figure it out. We'll get you work. We'll get you going, So he took me up on that offer, and he got down here. I think he stayed with me for a couple of days, but then I don't know where he went. He kind of couch surfed for a little while. But
Yeah.
we, I think, and then I think when I got back, we were jumping right into Top Gear and got him on that world, and it was just great because then he met you guys, and obviously, again, the love was easy and instant with him,
Yeah.
and
Very.
we did the show and crushed that, and then you guys went off and did different shows, and everybody, in his little network just blew up and took him wherever they went, and before you know it, he was really, had a great career in the entertainment business, and it was just, love for that kid everywhere we go. Like every time you would see him for months, between shows, and then you'd see him, and it was just like anything, it was like you just picked up, like, you just saw your little brother the day before,
Yeah.
and that's what I just loved about him, because it's just he's such a great soul, and always asked about you before he told anything about himself, and he was just a genuine sweetheart, and everyone really loved him. So he's sadly very missed.
Well, I mean, that's so amazing. I thank you for bringing him into our lives. I mean, I vaguely remember you telling us that, but I mean, wow. So sorry, Gary.
Well,
Thank
just
you
to
for bringing him in.
expand on that, Gary, that's Donnie and I, before the recording, we were trying to figure out what shows we had all worked on with Cam. And Donnie mentioned, it's like, so many people came through our shows in different life, but he stuck, and a lot of people washed out. A lot of the people just couldn't play with us. It was like, it was always fast and furious, and he was always a jovial guy that, you wanted to be with, and that's when you're on the road, you want people that, have sense of humor and are diligent about their work, but can also have fun. And he was definitely that guy.
Yeah, agreed. He was. It's true, because that was, I said it in the first pass with Johnny's first podcast with him, was like, Top Gear obviously was such a specialty show, and it had to be a certain kind of person that really to like keep that family going, and with the hours and the locations and the travel and the dirt and the, just the madness that we were getting into each and every day. And it's not for a lot of people. It's not for most people, and it's like you're getting curveballs left and right. Like, we're going to go here, and now it's downpour rain, and you got to cover the cameras, and I know they're all muddy, but you got to be up and running because now we have a rainbow and we need to shoot that in 30 seconds. And like, that all that kind of stuff, like just wears on you. And, obviously this group here, who I love, we were all part of that. Like, let's just get it done, and Cam was one of those guys, just like, whatever, let's do it. You want me to be ready in 15 minutes? I'll be ready in 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I just love that about him, because it was just never like the, F you, I haven't had lunch yet, I need a break, I need, let me grab a coffee first. He was always just putting everything else before him. And that was just the little butterfly that he was.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'd like to share a little side of Cam that probably maybe not a lot of people knew about, but first I want to say for sure, like, that whole thing that you guys are both saying, Colin, Gary, that he was get along gang from the very first second. Like, when you first saw him, it was like he just had like super eye contact. Like, he just wanted to like learn whatever it is that you had, like, as a sound guy, he was like, you could be like, hey, let's get these hops off of this camera. And he'd be like, show me what you're doing, man. So I know, because I want to be able to help you on this next time. You know what I mean? Like, he was always just ready to like help out, get things done. And even if it wasn't his department, he was like, okay, come on, man, help me out. And, the thing about Cam is, and what I mean by get along gang is just like what you guys were saying, is he was just like right away getting along with everybody. Like, he was, super humble, super cool, but just humble, and knew what he was doing, and it was just like, I don't know, it was like one of those kind of people where you knew just right away, this guy is going to be part of our, because it was like you guys were saying, it was like our little niche group, and you either were in or you were out. And he was like, from the get-go, he was in, and it was just obvious. But one of the things I always remember about him, and a side of him that a lot of people didn't really know about, was, that Cam was also like very like a philosophical and spiritual guy too. Like he wasn't just about having fun and, working super hard. Like we would go at night, at the bar or down in the lobby, we would talk for hours just on like spiritual things, philosophical things, who controls this world, just like crazy stuff. I remember one time, it was probably like his second or third show, and we were, I don't know, going to some other state, some bar trip, to shoot. And he was like, dude, check it out. I brought this book. And he had this huge tome that he brought. And I was like, dude, how are you gonna read that on, we're not gonna have time to be reading books, but he had like this huge, it was like, I think it was something like The Secret Teachings of All Ages, and it's a tome, and it was like, I don't know that, but that's a side of him, that he and I connected on, really well. And we would just spend hours just talking, like boom, boom, boom. And that was kind of more, maybe not the jovial, like laughing, lighthearted side of him, but it was kind of that more serious but centered. And I would say it kind of his sensitive side too, partly that side that can be powerful and good, when you're super kind of a sensitive person, it can be really, really solid, but sometimes, it can be difficult too, because, when you're a sensitive person, you're sensitive to everything, so, I mean, but yeah, that's kind of one of the things I just wanted to bring up as well, that he had a lot going on, not just being super get along gang and being one of us on Top Gear, like just tough guy all day long. He also had a really just kind of like I said, a philosophical and sensitive side that was really cool too. Really
Well,
good to get to know him on that side.
I think I got a little bit of that too, Jay, because the story I was going to bring up was when Gary, Cam, and myself worked on Creature Shop Studio, it was a hardcore show. It was one of the unique shows that, like, we didn't have much downtime as cam ops. Like, we got hot swapped on the floor. Like, your AC would come and give you another disc, and you just kept going. Everything was on a stopwatch. And I saw that side of Cam because when you came off the floor, you had a very limited time off. And it was unique. It was one of the few shows where it was on a stopwatch. So Cam kind of sensed that. And I was just like, he kind of would, either hand me a banana or this or that, but he would take the edge off because we were going right back on the floor. So we would start joking. I sent Donny a photo, like we were messing around wearing masks and taking photos through the camera feeds. And, he just knew that, all the cam ops were getting kind of beat up, so that he was there to kind of jump in. And, it's kind of goes with what you said, Jay. Like, he had a sense of like, man, these guys need something different. They just need a little bit of extra zen, because it was a tough shoot. And I mean, Gary could expand on this, but this is sidebar. But Anna, wasn't Anna on that? Is it Anna, the Ice Queen? Like that's a whole other episode. But Anna and you two is the funniest thing I've ever heard in a headset in my entire career. Was those two going at it?
Oh God, that was a whole sidebar on that. But yes, lovely.
What's that
Anna
story?
Moulaison. Well, she was, I don't know if you know her. Anna Moulaison is
She's amazing.
I call her a 7'9" Swedish terror. But
mad respect. Hey, man, she commands mad respect.
I think she's
have
8'4"
to
with the mohawk. But
yeah,
very
she's
intimidating.
amazing. I've got to work with
her.
She's
big
great.
voice, big personality. Sweetheart. Deep down, you have to dig really deep to see the sweetness. But she's a love
hence
bug.
the Ice Queen nomenclature.
But she kept everybody on point. as the AD, and she didn't spare anybody. And Cam, it always comes down to that, where it's like you come back for lunch, and in a normal shoot, it feels like it's like 20 minutes until you're back up and running. But for her, she just cracked the whip, and it would always be like, go right to the AC, like, are we ready? Are we ready with the cameras? And
Oh yeah,
that's the love of Cam, where he
that
would step
show is
up
to
like,
the
all right, I'm ready.
second. That was
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
second. It was unique. That I'd never been on a show that had that much of a time stamp on it.
Yeah, but again, like it was every show had its own personality, and back to Cam, like Cam was that chameleon that could adapt to whatever it was. If we were out in the middle of nowhere with limited resources, or had to be up and running in 10 minutes because a celebrity was coming in, and he was always just on point, and always like had his ear on it, so he knew that he knew how to stay one step ahead, and those kind of guys are really tough to find.
Yeah,
And he was that kid.
Didn't he, Jay? Didn't he work with us on Tony Greenhand? He was our AC on that. Were you on that with us?
Was he? No, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought you were on Tony Greenhand. Yeah, it was Tubi, or what's that? Was it?
Yeah, Tubi was a channel. Yeah,
one of those that. And it was like a 12-minute show, and it was about this guy that made all these eclectic joints, and like the Titanic that you can smoke. It was pretty cool.
Quibi wasn't Quibi.
Quibi. That's right, Quibi. And Cam and I were on that with Rupert. Cam was at AC, and we had a lot of
smoking
fun.
the Titanic. Or...
he was like, "This is amazing."
And smoking the set pieces.
Yeah, well, the set pieces weren't real, but we have bags and bags that we were laying on the bed with them around. So hopefully I can find those. But it was a lot of fun with them. It was always fun working with him, because it was always fun working with all you guys, because it was like I'm getting paid to hang out with my friends. And it just happens, that we're getting something done. And so it's just, I don't know, it's just such a joy working with you guys, and especially with Cam, because I'm just looking at a picture of him flipping me off with that fucking big old smile of his, and it just, I miss that. And it was such a joy. And not only did we work really well together and a lot together, he was one of those people that we were always together when we weren't working.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we were always together when we weren't working. And that's just a testament to what kind of guy he was, and how well he fit in, and the camaraderie that we had, with our crew. One thing that stands out that is funny about Cam, I mean, I think it's kind of all in our behavior. But we always had a very weird way of showing affection to each other. And it was always with a swear, and then fuck you, I love you, you son of a bitch, or something really like hard. But I'm telling you, like that, at the end of the shoots, at the end of the night, at the end of a couple drinks, like he was always the first one to say, "Fuck, I love you, you son of a bitch," and he meant it, and it was such an endearing thing to hear, that I just, that's the one thing I miss most about it. Because like you were saying, Donny, like there's probably very few pictures I have of him that, of selfies that he sent to me or that I did with him that doesn't have a finger up where he's literally saying, "I fucking love you," and it's just, you can see it in his eyes, and he just meant it. And we just had that same love for him back. So, I will always miss that. That's so funny you said that. I was just texting with Eric Fowler, bless his heart. He probably was with Cam the most this last year, in all of his tough times, and being there for him. I really appreciate what Eric, what you did for Cam. And he just said, he asked me to share this, just to spread love. He said he knows Cam loved people pretty hard, sometimes to a flaw, but his love for everyone around him kept him in it a lot longer, he thinks. So thank you for that, Eric. We appreciate it.
Yeah, but he had that sense of enthusiasm that we all had. It's like, why grow up when you can make movies and TV? And it's that, you're there, you're happy to be there. the work is secondary. It's just fun. And like we all said, we want to be with each other socially in thick and thin. And that's what this industry does. It really makes every shoot's like a mini summer camp. You just want to,
yeah,
it truly is. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. That's a great way to think of it. I never thought of it like that. Yeah. Go to Top Gear Summer Camp. Where shenanigans.
A lot of people would wash out of that. They're like, the amount of work and like, I still tell people, it's like, the only reason I wear knee pads, I was like, just do the math. How fast does a Suburban go? And they're like, I don't know, 85, 90. And I'm like, how fast is an exotic sports car? 150. So I was like, I wear knee pads because you slide out of the car to get the shot because you got 12 seconds for it to come by. It's not for everyone.
Sure wasn't, but holy shit, what a beautiful little misfit crew that was. What an amazing family it was. So
it was really cool.
Hopefully we get an opportunity to do it again.
I was not lucky enough to be out in Malibu last week. They did a nice paddle out for Cam, where some of his family were there.
I was there.
Oh, you were, Gary? Oh, please share.
Yeah. So it was great. Like it was, and weirdly, I have to say this. I don't know Eric. Like I don't know how I don't know Eric, but like I think he came just as I left, or maybe when it went to Motor Trend or something, maybe that's when he stepped up. But I don't think that I've ever had the pleasure of working with Eric, and but that the connective tissue was Mikey, and Mikey was like introduced me to him, and he's just a great guy. So I do appreciate all he's done, especially in this really tough time. But to sort of spearhead that was amazing, because it was a beautiful like Tuesday morning, and we just pulled up to the beach, and there was cars all over the place, and people getting out, and I recognized, I don't know, maybe half of them, and tons of surfboards were coming out, and leis and flowers, and I mean, it was such a cool little experience. And it was just like, and it was just like you got out of the car and you just started hugging people that you didn't know. And it was just like, it was like that common thread, that glue that he was so well known for, and pulling people together, and, and loving on him. Then we were just kind of like loving on each other, and expressing, stories and little tidbits of camisms that we've had over the years. But it was great, because it was such a, it was great to see people that I hadn't seen in a long time. Met his sisters, met his parents, met family. And, there must have been a good, probably 40, 50 people there. And most of them paddled out. We did a big circle out in the water. And obviously said good things about him. And everybody surfed a little bit, came back in, and, just had a quick little chat. At that point, it was like quick little chats on the beach, and, people had to get off to work. But it was, it was a good 2-3 hours of people just, telling stories and expressing love for a kid that, gone too soon, and that we all knew we would miss. And, a light that's is really tough to see extinguished in our lives, So it was a great day for celebration of life, for sure.
Well, what an amazing way to celebrate his life. That's so cool that happened.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry I missed it, but the photos are amazing. It looked amazing. Out there.
And Mikey even pulled it out too, like so appropriately, that the paddle out was caught on Surfline.
Okay. Oh, so that's the photo. Okay.
Yeah, if you saw the video that he sent, I was like, what is this? Is this like surveillance of Neptune's net or something? He's like, dude, Surfline captured it. So it was such a cool little, extra little icing on the cake of a really special morning, which was fun.
That's really cool.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, anything else you'd like to share about Cameron? I mean, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know it's hard to come on. I know it feels good to talk about him. I know I like to talk about things. You guys know I like to talk about things. That's why I have a couple podcasts. That's why we like to talk about fun
And
times.
there's nobody better to talk about things than the world famous Donny McGuire.
Thank you.
GoForDonny.com.
Captain, thank you guys. Yeah, we'll get back to some fun shenanigans on some more episodes of Go for Donny and switch the channel too. But thanks again for coming in, you guys.
Yeah, I'd like to just say one little wrap up is just, I've been in this little dark spot too. We've all been in a dark spot. So it's just, let's all kind of look out for each other. And, I hope his family watches this and knows, a whole new aspect of people that, and they got a really good sense of it on the beach that day, but,
Right.
on how much we loved him and, we're thinking about them and, wish the best for them in their healing of an amazing gift they gave us. So
Right.
Yeah.
God bless,
Chip.
Godspeed to that kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
God bless
great
him.
point. That's a great point. Reach out to your friends, you guys, in the
Yeah.
military. We always said we got your six. So
Check your six. Yeah.
check your six, you guys. Check your friends, family. Just say hi.
Yeah.
Check in.
No, it's happened way too often. I've lost a few people recently, and it does bring you together. You do check in on people, and that's how Gary and myself talked recently. It's sad that you have to come to an event like that, but you really should check in. It's a tough time, especially the film industry, TV. It's not likely to come back the way it used to. So people have to diversify, and it's leading to a lot of issues.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, anything else? Yay.
No, thanks for having us, Tony. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
It was cool. It was good to be able to talk about him and share some thoughts.
I'm glad we could do this.
Super sincere guy.
Yeah, we're always thinking about him and his family too, and all of our other friends that weren't able to come on and talk about Cam. So
Rest in peace, buddy. Cam.
Yeah.
Man, we'll see you around.
All right.
Thanks,
buddy.
guys. See you guys. I love you, son of a bitches.
Yeah, like
Love you
Cam
guys.
would say.
Cameron.
Cam would say, I fucking love you.
Hey, fuck you guys. Fuck you, I love you.
Yeah. Fuck you, I love
Fuck you, I love you.